Everybody should be leveled up now. There's Camellia. Guess can I talk to my peeps? Yes, I can. Camellia looks over pensively, toying with the snake-shaped bone amulet that dangles from her pale neck. Noticing your glance, she flashes you a cold, barely there smile. Greetings. It seems for a moment that the girl wants to say something else, but the pause grows too long, and she slips back into cautious silence. Where did you learn to wield a rapier so well? I had good teachers, although they don't get all the credit. I am a most diligent student. Camellia licks her parched lips. Your amulet is quite unusual. Where did you get it? Ah, my little trinket. It's so nice of you to notice, but I assure you this amulet is nothing but a bauble. Can a lady not be drawn to beautiful, useless things? Your speech tells me you are of noble birth. Camellia laughs her practiced musical laugh as she watches you from her lowered lashes. You're most insightful, a fine quality you have. Camelia's laughter ends, and unspoken words hang in the silence. Wouldn't have pegged you for a philosopher. I don't necessarily want to pursue the romantic option, which one of those was for Camellia. Tell me about yourself. You want to know more about me than you already do? Why? Camellia arches a dainty brow. I talk to the spirits of this tormented land, and they guide me in battle. I'll help you fight the demons, and I swear that you can rely on me in this matter. Isn't that sufficient? Anyway, as much as I enjoy our delightful conversations, the spirits are calling me, and I must respond. Please excuse me. Camellia turns away, watching you out of the corner of her eye. And yet, you still stand there. Staunton! I was supposed to talk to you, good sir. The dwarf resembles an abandoned citadel, whose high crumbling walls are still holding fast, but whose empty, lightless windows make it clear that all inside is dead. Oh, it's you. Good work back there, in the Grey Garrison. My name's Staunton Vane. If you've heard rumors about me, his face looks like it has never known anything as carefree as a smile, grimaces. Just so you know, everything people say about me, it's true. I need to talk to the elf who calls himself the Storyteller. Do you know where I can find him? Storyteller? Staunton strokes his beard in thought. A strange old fellow, that one. He used to sit with me for hours, asking about all sorts of things. He never offered judgment or comfort. He just listened. At first, I wanted him and his questions as far away from me as possible, but later I realized that talking to him did ease my burden a little. I hope he is alive and well. He's completely blind, and feeble, too. So, if he's alone in the city, well, you probably know what that means. I do know one place he might be. Look for him in the Black Wing. It's a library. Here, I'll show you where it is on the map. I don't know what use a library is to a blind elf, but he loved the place. He would sit there day and night. What do people say about you? They say I'm a traitor, as bad as Aurelu Vorlesh, that I'm a disgrace, even among the ranks of the condemned, that Queen Galfrey should never have spared me, and that I belong on the gallows. Nice. Hardly any name arouses so much rage among the Crusaders as of Aurelu Vorlesh, a Sarkorian witch who initiated the opening of the world wound and then made it expand. Almost nothing is known about her life, before the atrocity, except that Arilu was condemned for using arcane magic, which was persecuted in Sarkoris, and imprisoned in the Tower of Threshold near the city of Iz. This is where Arilu conducted the ritual that paved the way for the demonic invasion, and left her land to be tormented by the demon lord Deskari. In some mysterious way, the witch transformed herself, turning from a regular human into a half-demon. Over the following century, Crusaders only encountered Arilu or the results of her experiments a few times, but learned nothing more of Deskari's henchwoman. She holds a high position in the ranks of the Army of the Abyss, and holds the title of World Wound Architect. The Condemned. A military unit made up of petty criminals conscripted as disposable soldiers and frontline fodder in the Mendevian Crusades. Queen Galfrey is the absolute monarch of the Crusader state of Mendev and leader of the Mendevian Crusades. While today the name of the Crusader Queen is known throughout the Inner Sea region, it's easy to forget that Galfrey did not start her rule of Mendev, as a paladin of Iomade, but rather of Eredin. When the world wound opened and forever changed Mendev, Galfrey was still an untested, man, I cannot read this morning for some reason, an untested young ruler who was forced to deal with the death of her god, while simultaneously rallying her nation against the abyssal threat to the west. She rose to the challenge, however, and her leadership was instrumental over the next several years, not only in protecting Mendev from demonic invasions, but also holding the border against the world wound. When the Church of Iomade organized the First Crusade, it joined forces with Mendev to push back the demon armies. During these battles, Galfrey, time and time again, distinguished herself with a keen grasp of tactics and skill at leadership, but this inspiration went both ways. In the Church of Iomade, Galfrey found something to replace her lost faith. By the time the First Crusade ended and the apparent defeat of the demon armies, Galfrey had converted and become a worshipper of Iomade, and had completely retrained herself as one of the Inheritor's most devout paladins. Eager to retain such a valuable leader at the head of the Crusades, the Church of Iomade twice purchased and presented to the Queen the rare and expensive Sun Orchard Elixir, Kid, not Orchard, which extends mortal life beyond its usual span. Thanks to this boon, the Queen has lived and led the Crusaders for more than a century. Cool. Why do they hate you so much? You really don't know. Staunton gives you a look, morose look, long morose look that then sighs. God, sorry. I am the reason why the Crusade forces are holed up in fortress on the edge of the world wound instead of bringing the fight to the demons. We used to have a foothold in the wound, the mighty, unassailable city of Dresden. We used to have it until it fell, and all because of my stupidity. I gave the enemy our main citadel. I was tried, they wanted to execute me, and rightly so, but the Queen intervened. She said that I could live and fight in order to undo what I had done. So that's how I live, decade after decade, fighting in the condemned. The dwarf shrugs. As you can see, I have fixed nothing, and I have learned no one's forgiveness. Are you going to spit on my face too? It wouldn't surprise me. So, I can hope you earn forgiveness. You keep living and fighting with no hope of anything better because that's what the Queen ordered you to do. There is honor in that. You were given the chance to live, so live, and stop blaming others for what you've made of your life. I can spit in his face, or I can take the neutral option. We'll go good. Thank you, from the depths of my soul, I thank you, but I haven't had hope for a long, long time. A whole city fell because of you, how is that possible? What do you mean, how? The knight glares at you from beneath his furrowed brows. If you don't trust the word of a condemned, go ask somebody else, like my little brother Joran. And if you still don't believe it, what's it to me? But if you're about to ask me to recount the story of my disgrace for the 1000th time, don't. I couldn't have survived this long if I was completely alone. Joran, my little brother, he keeps me going. He's never abandoned me. Everyone else shies away from me like they might catch what I've got. Even fighters in the Condemned console themselves by thinking, I got stripped of my rank, but at least I'm not Staunton. Commander Tirabade seems to be the only person in the whole army who remembers that I'm a soldier and not a drudge. She has no qualms about taking me into battle. She's had some mud flung at her in the past, or so I hear. That's why she tries to keep an open mind about people. It's no surprise that she's the only one to hold onto her sense of reason in this farce. So many years in the Condemned. Surely you've paid your penance. That's not up to me to decide. My life is in the Queen's hands. He falls silent for a moment, and then in a trembling voice he adds, the Condemned isn't the worst part. All these years I have prayed to Torag for forgiveness. Countless times I've gone to his priest. Countless times I've kneeled before his altar. If only the father of dwarven kind would answer my prayers just once. Not to restore what I've lost, but just to tell me that I am still one of his children. But it seems he doesn't give a damn about me. What can I expect from mere mortals when my own god doesn't think I deserve redemption? I mean, you still have your abilities. If he didn't care about you, then you probably would have been removed from being a paladin and would have lost your powers. I have to go. Okay. I know Salah is here. Where is... What is over here? Sela smiles at you warmly. Hey there. During that march through the dungeon, we never got the chance to exchange a proper greeting. It's time I shake your hand. I'd like to know more about you. Of course, ask me anything. I'll answer honestly. Where are you from? I'm a little bit from Geb, a little bit from Katapesh, but mostly from the Knights of Iomade. I was accepted and began my training at 14. I belong to their ranks more than I belong to any other place. You've come to Mendav by a long road, haven't you? A very long one. She looks at you cheerfully. Traveler is expected to have amusing stories. Unfortunately, I have only 3 tales of any interest, and I'd like to save them for our next feast. Otherwise, I won't have anything to show for myself when it's time to start bragging. And that just won't do, especially since I'll win the night with my cautionary tale of a battle with chupacabras. Okay. What a feast it will be. We'll talk when we celebrate our next victory. I like your attitude. We'll never overcome grief and misery without hope for the better and dreams of brighter days. What made you become a paladin of Iomade? Selah's gaze sharpens momentarily, then sighs. That's a serious question and a good one. You should ask it of your companions, but it's a long story. To start with, 12 years ago, I was nothing like the person I am now. I roamed the streets of Solku with other homeless orphans. I stole, I fought, I was a hired sword for a bit. Not the proper origin for a paladin, is it? Back then, Solku was a city of orphans, widows, and widowers. Gnolls decimated the city regularly. My parents were among their victims. People there heard about new deaths before they'd finished mourning their previous losses. One day, a group of knights of Iomade brought a glimmer of hope to the city, but while others saw them as saviors and protectors, I was busy pricing up their noble horses and their gleaming mithril armor, wondering just how much one of their pretty swords would fetch. Haha. A thief lives one day at a time. That's what they say. I was the type that never thought past the next job. Anyhow, I was able to sneak into the knight's camp and steal one of their mithril helms. Selah pauses, her voice sad and measured. And I was right there when a gnoll attacked the helm's owner. Asami was her name, and dealt a blow to her unprotected head. A gnoll like all those others she'd fearlessly driven from the gates of Solku. With that one blow was fatal, but who really was to blame for her death? The gnoll attacker or the young thief named Selah? Well, I can't. I just said I can't judge you. I believe everyone deserves a chance at redemption, but redemption means you understand what you did and you're willing to be harder on yourself from now on. But you were asking what brought me into the ranks of Iomade's warriors. We all choose the paladin's path for our own reasons. Some are guided by nobility of spirit, some by a desire to fight injustice. I became who I am through penance and a debt unpaid. The day Asimi died protecting my city, I wanted to kill myself for the terrible guilt I felt, but then I realized I wouldn't make the world any better, and I decided that instead I tried to take her place. I had become who she had been, and protect the innocence that she would no longer be able to protect. Nice. What are the principles that paladins of Iomade follow? Selah smiles. I'll tell you, I like to recite our code. It feels like I've said it 1,000 times, but it never gets old. There is strength in these words. After a pause, she begins, her voice slow and meditative. I will learn the weight of my sword. Without my heart to guide it, it is worthless. My strength is not in my sword, but in my heart. If I lose my sword, I have lost a tool. If I betray my heart, I have died. I will have faith in the inheritor. I will channel her strength through my body. I will shine in her legion, and I will not tarnish her glory through base actions. I am the first into battle, and the last to leave it. I will not be taken prisoner by my free will. I will not surrender those under my command. I will never abandon a companion, though I will honor sacrifice freely given. I will guard the honor of my fellows, both thought and deed, and I will have faith in them. When in doubt, I may force my enemies to surrender, but I am responsible for their lives. I will never refuse a challenge from an equal. I will give honor to worthy enemies and contempt to the rest. I will suffer death before dishonor. I will be temperate in my actions and moderate in my behavior. I will strive to emulate Iomade's perfection. Thank you. Learned everything I needed to know. I hope I didn't bore you. Ask me something else if you like. Irabeth said you had a friend that is missing. Irabeth is worried about her fighters. I understand that. I wanted to look for Janna myself, so I didn't distract you. But since you're in this too, I could use some help. John and I met at Canabras a few days ago and just hit it off. We went drinking together. We went to that unforgettable celebration together too, but we got separated in the crowd. So we should start looking from the main square. That's where I last saw her. Scylla frowns. Janna's a good fighter, even if she is green. She couldn't have become an Eldori otherwise. I hope that means she's alright. What do you think of what's going on in Canabras? A friend in need is a friend indeed. It's complete chaos. It's lucky we're here to handle it, right? Scylla smiles brightly. Then she gives you a worried look. Does the way I talk bother you? I know I can seem blasé. Many good people in our protector, Terendelev, died here in Canabras. A paladin of Iomade is expected to be properly respectful and solemn. But I prefer to face my troubles with a smile and a bit of common sense. Grief is a weapon they'll use against you. It can undermine a warrior's spirit. It's better we hold off on grief until we've driven the last demon and cultist from the city. It's wisdom and traditions of mourning, and one shouldn't reject them. All the more so if inappropriate merriment could offend other mourners. I'm just gonna say I'm not bothered. Now you're talking sense. Well, you can trust in my sword. Interesting. Is fighting demons all you want, or are you looking for something more? How about... You made it! Success! Morning! Welcome. I'm just going through and, God. Bringing up the speed. So, a demon lord basically attacks the city that you start in this game, and creates a rift in the city square. And we tumbled down into it, found a society of like half-breeds that are really like half animal, half humanoid. Oh. They're humanoids either way. Maybe half demon. We haven't really clarified what they're called mongrels are. But we get together with them, go through this like maze to be able to find our way out. We find that there's a demonic force underneath down there that are trying to affect the world up here. That were forces working with the demon, maybe it was a demon lord. We fought them as we came back up, and now basically we're in the calmed down phase after the main battle, but we were repelled from the main cathedral area, and are trying to like gather up forces to be able to then infiltrate the area again. So this is a bar, a former bar that is now basically the action area. And I've been talking with you get a lot of missions after you wake up in this area because you get knocked out during the battle. And so I've been going around trying to talk to people. Finally was able to sell off all of my crap to one guy in here. And then they also sell some gear, some spells, and some potions at a few different people here in this place. So we've kind of done inventory management. We've talked to a few people for the mission purposes. And I'm trying to go through and talk to all the people that are in my team as well. Doing that and turning in some of the missions, we are all now level 3. So we just leveled up. And then Salah is my paladin. She's my tank, basically. She's a paladin of Iomade. And I can pull up the pictures of the other people once we're done with this conversation. So, yeah. How about covering myself in glory and becoming the hero of 100 ballads, or at least a dozen, if they're lively ones? Salah's eyes shine cheerfully. Anyway, to be more serious, the area around the World Wound is the best place for a paladin who wishes to defend the weak and serve the good. Being part of the crusade is reward enough for me, but there's something that worries me. So everybody talks about this crusade. 4433, Aridin defeated a cult dedicated to the demon lord Deskari, so he's a demon lord, making the north of Avestan safe from demonic influence. However, this protection ended with Aridin's death in 4606. The same year, the World Wound was opened by the witch Arilu Vorlesh, working in conjunction with her demonic patron Deskari. Demons poured out and overran the barbarian nation of Sarkoris. The World Wound was not large at first, but soon it abruptly expanded as it kept growing. Expanded, period. As it kept growing, comma. Punctuation is key, kids. It came to be seen as a threat to the entire world. The remaining clerics of Aridin and the clerics of his follower Iomade took it upon themselves to defeat the demons and seal the War Wound. Answering their call, thousands of Pilgrim Crusaders flooded up the river road and into Mendev, the nearest neighboring kingdom of former Sarkoris. Thus, the Mendevian Crusades were born. Fair enough. I don't want to sound like I'm criticizing my brothers in arms, but the Eagle Watch and the other orders are focused on just one aim, the war against the World Wound. That's why they can sometimes overlook the smaller things, ordinary misfortunes, you know. I always liked being a wandering knight because any moment I could get up and go help a poor rat folk whose family had been kidnapped, or an old woman whose favorite dog had gone missing. So here's my answer. I don't have some big important goal, but I'll be happy to help those who need it. A little bit here and there. So, we have myself, Kirtix, who I did a Sword Saint Magus. We have Camellia, who is a Spirit Hunter Shaman, utilizing a rapier and a small buckler, which I now think that maybe I should have kept one of the shields that I tossed. Sila is who we were just talking with. We just got a new sword that I actually got from talking with somebody, so that's cool that we, just from conversations, were able to grab a sword. A better sword than the legendary sword that she was talking about. Interesting. And then we have Lan, who is one of the aforementioned mongrels. I would assume he was some sort of fae, like satyr almost, with the fact that he's got pointed ears and the horn, and then like half of him is lizard. But he's our archer. He's a monk Zen archer archetype, which is dope. And he does a lot of our ranged damage, well, a lot of our damage in general, to be perfectly honest. Also during this time, we were able to add some spells to our... Oh, and I use a scimitar on Kirtix. We were add a couple spells to our spell book as Kirtix, which we don't probably have access to quite yet, because they were probably higher level. And at 3, we don't have access to that many things quite this soon. Oh, I have a charge as well. I guess that makes sense. Okay. So, we have quite a few missions. Some we've updated. This was something that we got from talking to one of the elves here in the bar, in the building. Oh, this is us trying to find allies, yeah. This was us trying to find the storyteller, who I'm assuming is an oracle, a blind oracle. This is our quest from Salah to find her friend. This was one of the nobles that we talked to and helped out of the caves. He now wants us to go to his house, and he's a stuck-up snob that I don't really care for, so we're gonna do the mission for the money part. But there is apparently an ally in the basement. I know for a fact from the other playthroughs that I have seen of this game that Woljif is...
Hey, Chief! Hey, Dreamboat, come over here! I want to talk to you about something. Something really important.
Young Tiefling sits cross-legged on the floor. He looks relatively calm for someone in shackles, but his tail whips back and forth in agitation.
Quit bothering the decent people in here, Woljif, or I'll knock your teeth out!
What's it to you, Delvin Dum-Dum? You were told to guard me, and I'm not stopping you. But no one told me I had to shut my trap. Woljif Jefto. I deal in useful things. I can get you whatever you want. Anything. But there's just one problem.
Tiefling rattles his change and gives you a meaningful look.
I'll lay it out for you. Simple job, 30 minutes tops. We go someplace, talk to someone, and in return, whatever you want, I'll get it for you. Some extra rations? No problem. Armor, weapons, scrolls, you name it. It's as good as yours. If you need my help with something, whistle and I'll be there. I'm handy enough with knives too, and even my magic know-how isn't too shabby.
What a load of guff! If you were good at magic, you wouldn't be stuck in here now, would you?
Don't you listen to him, Chief. He'd find fault with the Queen herself. I'll be useful to have in battle, and I'll sell whatever you want at a reasonable price. It's your lucky day. You won't meet another gem like me in Canabras. Get me out of here and I'll tell you. And don't worry, it's not contagious.
Yeah, his shadow, like, activated. Actually spoke earlier when I came down here earlier.
Does it really matter? Don't get hung up on the past, Chief. Don't look to the future. Live in the here and now.
He was caught thieving.
Shock.
That's easy. You know Irabeth? Feisty-looking gal, always wears armor. You can't miss her. She's the meanest fighter in the whole city. When you see her, put in a good word for me, will ya? Tell her there's this guy, Woljif, locked up for no good reason in the Defender's Heart. Well, for the follies of his youth. And he really wants to get out on bail so he can keep up his good behavior and make a contribution to society. Got that? Will you do it? I knew I could count on you. Knew it the moment I laid eyes on you.
We go upstairs, talk to Beth, who, if I'm not mistaken, really does not look like her portrait in this game. He has longer hair. Because her portrait, it's like military, not buzzed, but crew cut. Yeah. Maybe it's just how the model works. Never mind. Just seems like it's longer than it is in the picture. Any success? How is the city? There's a tiefling chained up in the defender's heart. What can you tell me about him? She shrugs scornfully. Woldruff is a petty thief from a gang of tieflings. Nice. Operating in Canabras. That's what we call them in these parts. Excuse me. They tried to rob a vendor of magical items recently. Unfortunately, we apprehended only one of them, and the rest managed to escape. We have nowhere else to keep him apart from the defender's heart, but that's hardly a prison. Woldruff knows it too. He's been begging us for days to let him go free, or have someone vouch for him. He's already asked you to put in a good word for him, has he? Irabeth squints at you thoughtfully, then shrugs. If you want to recruit Woldruff and put him to good use, go ahead and take him off our guard's hands. We can ill afford to let a soldier spend their days watching over a middling thief. I hope the tiefling proves useful, should you decide to take him along. Okay. So I can now go back. Ooh, who are you? A young man in well-worn traveling clothes and a simple wooden symbol of Erastil on his chest is efficiently cutting a linen robe into strips to use as bandages. Despite his visible exhaustion, he works with zeal, singing some tune with about red braids and ripe sheaves of wheat under his breath. He raises his warm chestnut-colored eyes to you. Are you one of the Crusaders? Thank you for defending those of us whose talents lie off the battlefield. I'm Jernog, servant of Erastil. Pleased to meet you. What are you doing? I only took my holy orders recently, so my god has only bestowed a little of his power upon me as yet. I'm sorry to say the number of wounded fighters in this tavern is far beyond my power to heal, but there's a reason people say have faith in the gods, but look to yourself first. I may not be able to help the wounded with magic, but I can at least cut up bandages. Are you from around here? No, I was just passing through Canabras. I was sailing down that old man of ours. The Great Selen River. Okay, interesting phrase to use for a river. To a village by the name of Chili Creek. I happened to land in the city on the eve of the festival, and I'm ashamed to say I decided to stay for a day to enjoy myself. But I ended up staying in the city longer than I had bargained for. Chili Creek, where is that? It's a small fishing village. It's not even marked on some maps, but people do live there. What they don't have is a priest. They have no one to heal their wounds, no one to offer prayers for a good catch. No one to give their dead a dignified burial, and the world wound is a stone's throw away. So I'll be setting sail for Chili Creek to serve my god and my people. Chili Creek has been revealed. Once we've held Canabras, I'll be going there. If, by the grace of the good gods, we all survive this, you should come and visit me sometime. You'll find the village there on the bank of the river. Aren't you a young and inexperienced cleric afraid to go to the border of the world wound? Take. I won't lie, I'm afraid, but what can I do? Those villagers are simple people. Every day of their short lives is spent doing hard, honest work. That's exactly the kind of life I want. Something simple but meaningful. If I had centuries ahead of me, like elves do, I might have spared some 50 years or so to travel around the world, the young man says with a smile. Interesting. Can I recruit this guy? Or maybe even 100. Why not? But I don't have time to spare, so I want to spend my short life in the place where I'm needed the most, even if it's dangerous, especially if it's dangerous. So he's got a mace and he's got a longbow, it looks like. I don't know. You have 2 slots. Could use the help of the cleric. The rest of those know I'll be glad to help you, but it's no use. My spells are depleted and I have the training potions. Fair enough. I wanted to make sure before I requested him and then wasn't able to get Woljeff here.
Well, Chief, what do you got for me? Ha! You must be a smooth talker. Come on, Delvin. Get these bracelets of yours off me. I'm going free.
You're sure to regret this. This tiefling will fleece you for everything you've got. Mark my words.
You're a bitter little man, Delvin. Petty and mean. You can't even be happy for me, can you? I pity you. I'll leave you alone with your sad little soul. So long. And now, Chief, straight down to business. You see, I'm one of those guys that people around here call Tieflings. We just call ourselves the family. After we knocked over that shop and I got stuck here in the Defender's Heart, a little bird told me that Big Sister Charisme wanted to see me. That she had some questions to ask me. You following? Now, she won't be asking me questions like, Woljeff, how'd you manage to get out of this one? Or, Woljeff, you're so thin, didn't they feed you? No, something serious has gone down, and I just know they want to try to pin something on me. I can feel it in my tail. So, I knew right away that I couldn't go alone. You turned up just in time, Chief. You don't need to do anything when we get there. Just stand behind me and look mean, and I'll handle the rest. Somehow. Let's go, I'll show you the way.
Where did you go? There he goes. Okay. Guess we head outside. I just have me, myself, and I. Then we can get out on either side. And then you have, okay. Yeah.